The change was not heralded by trumpets or cataclysm. It arrived silently, universally. One Tuesday morning, the entire population of Earth simply did not wake up from sleep because no one had fallen asleep. The sun climbed the sky, painting cities gold, then white. Yet, bedrooms remained still, not with the peace of slumber, but with a new, unsettling quiet. Eyes that should have been closed, minds that should have been dreaming, were instead staring blankly at ceilings. A profound shared bewilderment settled over humanity. This was not a collective insomnia. This was the absence of the very need, the very possibility of sleep itself. It was a fundamental shift in the human condition, unasked for and entirely unexplained. Across continents, a strange energy began to hum. Children, usually coaxed from their beds, were already wide-eyed, their usual morning vivacity replaced by a curious, almost fearful stillness. Adults found themselves lying in their beds, not from weariness, but from a deep instinctual confusion. The biological imperative to rest, to succumb to the soft embrace of sleep, had vanished. Within the first 24 hours of this new sleepless existence, the delicate machinery of the human mind began to show signs of strain. Memory, that intricate tapestry woven from daily experiences and nightly consolidation, started to unravel. Simple things became elusive. Where were the car keys? What was that important appointment? Names of colleagues, even loved ones, momentarily vanished from recall. The brain, denied its crucial period of synaptic pruning and memory solidification that occurs during sleep, struggled to hold on to new information. Learning became an almost impossible task. Students stared blankly at textbooks, the words refusing to coalesce into meaning. Attention spans, already under siege in the modern world, now shattered completely. Focusing on any single task for more than a few minutes became a Herculean effort. Conversations drifted, unfinished sentences hanging in the air as minds wandered, unmoored. In workplaces, errors began to multiply. A misplaced decimal point here, a forgotten safety protocol there. The intricate dance of coordinated human activity, so reliant on focused attention, began to stumble. The world, once sharp and clear, started to take on a slightly blurred, unfocused quality, as if viewed through a smudged lens. As the cognitive faculties faltered, so too did the intricate systems governing human emotion. The prefrontal cortex, the brain's rational executive, normally kept in check by restorative sleep, began to lose its regulatory power over deeper, more primitive emotional centers like the amygdala. Consequently, emotional regulation started to break down with startling rapidity. Irritability became a baseline state for many. Minor annoyances, things that would have been brushed aside with ease by a rested mind, now triggered disproportionate flashes of anger or frustration. Patience wore thin, then disappeared entirely, leaving raw nerves exposed to the slightest provocation. The emotional landscape became a volatile, unpredictable terrain. Mood swings grew more frequent and extreme. Fits of unwarranted laughter might dissolve into sudden, inexplicable tears. A sense of pervasive anxiety settled over the population, a low hum of dread that underscored every waking moment. The delicate balance between positive and negative emotions, normally recalibrated during sleep, was lost. The assault of perpetual wakefulness was not confined to the mind. The human body began to protest vehemently. A profound bone-deep physical exhaustion settled in, a weariness that no amount of rest, if rest were even possible, could alleviate. Muscles ached with a persistent dull throb, as if from a strenuous workout that never ended. Energy levels, normally replenished by sleep, plummeted, leaving individuals feeling drained and lethargic. Simple physical tasks, like climbing a flight of stairs or carrying groceries, became monumental efforts. The body, denied its nightly repair and regeneration cycle, was running on empty, its reserves rapidly depleting. The immune system, intricately linked with sleep cycles, began to weaken significantly. Sleep is when the body produces cytokines, proteins crucial for fighting inflammation and infection. Without this nightly production, the body's defenses crumbled. Common colds spread like wildfire, evolving into more serious respiratory infections. Wounds healed slowly, if at all. The population became a breeding ground for opportunistic pathogens. Section 5. Time out of joint biological rhythms collapse utterly. The human body is a marvel of intricate timing, governed by a master internal clock known as the circadian rhythm. This internal pacemaker, located in the suprachiasmatic nucleus of the brain, orchestrates a vast array of physiological processes, from hormone release to body temperature, all synchronized with the 24-hour cycle of day and night. Sleep is the primary anchor for this rhythm. With sleep's sudden and complete disappearance, this fundamental biological timing system was thrown into utter chaos. the body's internal clock effectively shattered, leaving a jumble of unsynchronized processes in its wake. Hormone regulation, normally a finely tuned dance, became erratic and unpredictable. Cortisol, the stress hormone, remained chronically elevated, contributing to anxiety, inflammation, and further disruption of bodily functions. Melatonin, the hormone that signals darkness and prepares the body for sleep, was no longer produced in its usual cyclical pattern, further confusing the body's sense of time. Growth hormone, crucial for cellular repair and typically released during deep sleep, ceased its vital work. Section 6. The Waking Nightmare. Reality distorts and hallucinations begin. As the days, or rather the continuous unbroken stretches of wakefulness, wore on, the mind, starved of sleep's restorative processes, began to play cruel tricks. The boundary between the internal world of thought and external reality started to blur. Initially, these were subtle sensory disturbances. Fleeting shadows danced in the periphery of vision. Faint, unidentifiable sounds like whispers or distant music seemed to emanate from empty rooms. These were the early harbingers of a more profound disconnection from reality, the first signs that the brain was struggling to accurately interpret sensory input without its nightly recalibration. These distortions of perception soon intensified, evolving into full-blown hallucinations. Visual hallucinations became more complex and vivid. Faces might momentarily contort into grotesque masks. Walls might appear to breathe or ripple. Objects could seem to shift or change color. Section 7. Society's fracture, accidents, and infrastructure failure. The cumulative effects of cognitive decline, emotional instability, and physical breakdown soon rippled outwards, shaking the very foundations of society. Accidents, once unfortunate but relatively contained events, skyrocketed in frequency and severity. On the roads, drivers plagued by microsleeps, impaired judgment, and hallucinations caused multi-car pileups with horrifying regularity. In workplaces, especially those involving complex machinery or hazardous materials, operator errors led to devastating industrial accidents, fires, and chemical spills. Even homes became danger zones, as simple tasks like cooking or using appliances became fraught with peril for the perpetually exhausted. The complex infrastructure that supports modern life, a testament to human ingenuity and cooperation, began to crumble under the weight of universal sleeplessness. Power grids, reliant on the constant vigilance of operators, experienced cascading failures as mistakes went unnoticed or uncorrected. Water treatment plants malfunctioned, leading to shortages of clean water and outbreaks of waterborne diseases. Transportation networks ground to a halt. Section 8. Economic ruin and the psychological abyss. A world in freefall. The societal fractures inevitably led to a catastrophic economic collapse. Productivity, the engine of economic growth, plummeted to near zero. With workers unable to concentrate, remember tasks, or operate machinery safely, factories fell silent and offices emptied. Businesses, large and small, shuttered their doors, unable to function in a world where basic cognitive abilities were a lost commodity. The intricate global web of commerce, reliant on production, distribution, and consumption, simply disintegrated. The concept of a functioning economy became a relic of a bygone, rested era. Financial markets, often seen as a barometer of global confidence, crashed spectacularly and irrevocably. Stock exchanges ceased trading as there was nothing left to trade, no viable companies, no predictable future. Currencies lost all value as faith in governments and institutions evaporated. Section 9. The unspoken truth, sleep, our vital anchor in the storm of life. The horrifying panorama of a world without sleep, a world of crumbling minds, failing bodies, and collapsing societies, reveals an irrefutable, fundamental truth. Sleep is not a mere inconvenience, a period of unproductive downtime to be minimized or conquered. It is not a luxury, dispensable in the pursuit of more waking hours. Instead, sleep stands as a non-negotiable biological imperative, as essential to life and health as air, food, and water. Its sudden global absence in this imagined scenario underscores its profound, multifaceted importance with terrifying clarity. This dystopian vision serves as a stark testament to its critical role. Without the nightly intervention of sleep, the human mind cannot function effectively. Our capacity for memory consolidation, for learning new information, for maintaining attention and focus, all these cognitive cornerstones are critically dependent on the various stages of sleep. The brain uses sleep to prune unnecessary neural connections, strengthen important ones, and clear metabolic byproducts that accumulate during wakefulness. Deprived of this essential maintenance, the mind, as we have seen, descends into a fog of confusion, forgetfulness, and ultimately a terrifying detachment from reality.